Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Wednesday, March 5th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith with you on this Wednesday. 5 games on the NHL docket on this Wednesday night. We will get to those momentarily. First, as always, we'll recap a Tuesday night of busy action in the NHL. Really a up and down kind of night. Some wins, some losses, win some, lose some kind of night is what it was at the end of the day for certainly for me. But it started out with, the Nashville-Boston game. We were a little bit fearful of the over-bifecta in the system play. Both teams off shutout losses in that Predators versus Bruins game, but no sweat with the over-bifecta. 2-1 Nashville after the first period, and they roll to a 6-3 victory over the Boston Bruins, who have, had a rough couple of games here as far as the shutout to Minnesota, the loss last night to Nashville. Not a great night defensively for the Bruins or for Jeremy Swayman to allow 6 goals to Nashville is very unsettling. There's no question. A team that's obviously had trouble putting the puck in the net. Near the bottom, they are the bottom team in the NHL as far as goals per game scored on the road, the Nashville Predators. So it's what makes that even worse from a Boston standpoint last night. The credit to the Predators for that 6-3 win there. Columbus, Tampa Bay bouncing back strong, back-to-back, no problem. Jonas Johansson in net instead of Andrei Vasilevsky, no problem. They roll, and they jumped on Columbus early, and you felt Columbus was fighting an uphill battle right from that point, and Tampa 6-2. So the only thing that was good about that game is we cashed our over first period and full game. Unfortunately, the Columbus bets, no bueno there as far as that was concerned. But Tampa with a nice bounce-back performance there, 6-2 with the victory over the Jackets. And how about Zach Werenski getting both goals for the Columbus Blue Jackets as his season continues to be strong, even though the team had a tough night. That's what I get for betting a rare team total under, which I took with Calgary last night. Hello, they erupt for 4 goals. This team couldn't put a puck in the ocean. And then all of a sudden, 6 goals last night, and they get the big 6-3 win over the Philadelphia Flyers there in that one. Sam Ersson, a tough first period. The whole team had a really tough first period. But Calgary, that's got to be a great sight for them, for a team that had been really struggling at the offensive end. A nice 6-3 win there for the Calgary Flames. Carolina 2-1 against the Detroit Red Wings as they keep the Red Wings offense subdued. Just did enough offensively themselves, and they slipped past the Detroit Red Wings 2-1. As Carolina trying to get some kind of consistency and some kind of confidence on the road, and that was a nice step in that direction for Carolina last night. Horrific stuff from the Buffalo Sabres, and that's a game I stayed clear of. I actually thought it was a nice setup for Buffalo because San Jose was coming off the high of upsetting Toronto. They played their asses off against the Leafs, and it shows you how bad and inept the Sabres were last night. San Jose basically goes in there and puts an embarrassing performance on the board for the Sabres there. 6-2 for San Jose. Terrible job by the Buffalo Sabres. And another reason why in that game, why you didn't want to lay any sort of price of that magnitude with the Buffalo Sabres. But again, San Jose just adding another blemish to what's been a very difficult season for Buffalo. There was a little pulse there for a while, but clearly the playoff hopes have been snuffed out now with the last few games. So we'll see if that continues. The Winnipeg Jets and the New York Islanders. This was a weird game. Winnipeg, they didn't play that bad, but they just could not capitalize on their chances. And, it's a sign now for the Jets where this offense has cooled off in these last 3 losses. Philly, the loss before that as well, and then this Islander game. It's been tough sledding here. Nashville, they only score 1 goal. Philly, 1 goal. Islanders, 2 goals. What really hurt is I thought for sure Skarek was going to be in net here. And I had the choice once I found out they were going to put Sorokin in on a back-to-back to maybe lessen the position on Winnipeg. I didn't, but I was definitely thinking Skarek would be in net, but he was not. And Sorokin was pretty solid, but the Islanders get a nice 3-2 win there. Brock Nelson, a very emotional interview after the game. talking about how it could be the end of the road for him with the New York Islanders, as he speculated to be dealt before the trade deadline, and he got emotional. And remember, this is a guy that spent his whole career with the New York Islanders. Hell of a fight in this game. That was the highlight of the game to me. Adam Lowry and Anders Lee, a captain fight. You love to see that. That was a great scrap in the first period of that one. We saw Dallas with a unbelievably dramatic victory against the New Jersey Devils. New Jersey, man, I salute them, first of all, because Jack Hughes is out. You look at, obviously, the fact that Dougie Hamilton, injured during the game, did not return. It could be a significant absence for him now moving forward. And they were down 3-1, and to rally back, get that game tied, give them credit. It was a great battle from the Devils. They really played a nice road game. They deserved at least a point out of that game, quite honestly. They didn't play that bad. Got it back to 3-3, and then, whether you want to say if it should have been icing or not, if you look at the replay and slow it down, it didn't really, I don't think his stick really touched it. And then you can debate, obviously, if he could have hustled back Thomas Harley to negate the icing, or if he slowed down a little bit. I know that was a thing that was upsetting to the Devils fans, that was called icing. They thought, A, maybe Harley touched it with his stick, and B, he could have gotten back to that puck in time before the icing was. Nevertheless, yes, it caused the icing that caused a defensive zone faceoff in the last 30 seconds of the third period. But at the end of the day, you can complain about that call. Win a defensive zone faceoff. Clear the puck out of your defensive zone and get the game to overtime and secure at least 1 point. Do it. Get it done. The icing call didn't keep you from losing a defensive zone faceoff. It didn't keep you from failing to clear the zone there in the final few seconds. You got to get the job done defensively there. You got to get that game to overtime, and they couldn't do it. And Thomas Harley with a seeing eye wrister from the blue line to give the Stars a 4-3 win in the final seconds of that game. Hell of a win for Dallas. They've now scored 4 goals or more in 11 of their last 12 games, and the over is 11-1 in those last 12 games as well. So the Dallas overs keep going. First period over, unfortunately, fell short, but the full game over gets there. Full game overs, as I said, 11-1 now for Dallas, last 12, and 4 goals or more for the Dallas Stars in 11 of their last 12. And it's because, look, Robertson's on a roll. Hintz can't be stopped. Wyatt Johnston's heating up. Stankoven's heating up. Duchesne continues to chip in and produce. Harley is a point machine right now. Another over 1.5 points prop cashes with him last night at plus 500. We've talked about this. He is basically filling the shoes quite admirably, I must say, for Miro Heiskanen. And just a credit to him. He keeps getting better. This is one of those opportunities for Harley. You got a chance to show what kind of defenseman you can be, and you're filling the shoes of someone that's very difficult, almost irreplaceable. And he has stepped up and done an incredible job for the Dallas Stars on the back end, Thomas Harley. Salute to him. And I'm telling you what, that Four Nations experience probably gave him even more confidence. And look at how he's carried that effort, that tournament, over here to the Dallas Stars once NHL play resumed. Very impressed with him. Continues to play well. Lucky as shit, but man alive, I will take it. With Colorado team total over 3.5. 4-1 over the Pittsburgh Penguins. That game was 1-1 into the third. Colorado got a 2-1 lead with 5 minutes to go. And right then I knew the door was open for us to maybe hit this team total, because the hope was, Colorado would get an empty netter, which they did, made it 3-1, that Mike Sullivan would pull the goalie one more time, down 3-1, which he did. And there was the door open for that fourth goal. 2 empty netters get us there with the team total over for the Avs, and a 4-1 win where they did not play that great. And Pittsburgh, a little bit of a criticism, and they've heard it the last couple days, especially after that Toronto game and how atrocious defensively. They tried to play a better defensive game, and for their standards, it was a better defensive effort, but just shows you better defensive effort and still can't win the hockey game. Tells you where Pittsburgh is right now. Tough times for the Penguins. They lose 4-1. Again, they played better. The effort was better defensively, but not enough, obviously, to win that hockey game. Anaheim with a 6-2 pounding over Edmonton. And like I said, don't trust these fringe goaltenders off a great performance. Calvin Pickard outstanding against Carolina. Calvin Pickard anything but that last night in the first period against Anaheim, where he gets lit up. They replace him with Skinner in the second period, but too little too late. They've dug themselves a 4-1 hole. Now, the defensive coverage was atrocious, too. That's not all on Pickard. Pickard should have stopped the McTavish shot, but Pickard, the defensive coverage was just abysmal, an abomination for the Edmonton Oilers. And this has got to be concerning for the Brass with what we've seen from them. And their penalty kill, which was a hallmark in the playoff run last year, is struggling. And Anaheim with a 6-2 win over the Edmonton Oilers there last night. Don't look now, you won't believe this. Anaheim's 6 points out of the second wild card. They're not completely out of things yet, believe it or not. This crazy as it is to say, like, I don't think they're making it, but 6 points out with still, over a month of hockey left. Yeah, McDavid doesn't look himself, Aaron. It's 100%. He looks gassed. He looks like he needs a break. And he hasn't looked himself since the Four Nations. Since he got back to Edmonton, it has not looked great from him. He looks like he needs a little break, but he's not going to get one because you're going to keep playing here the rest of the regular season and then right into the playoffs. So you're going to hope that Connor McDavid gets a second win. This could be one of these deals where at some point maybe Knobloch's got to say, you know what, we're giving you a rest night or something like that because you're right. He just looks like he's laboring a bit at this point in time, no question. Minnesota, Minnesota, that third period was just clear the puck out and just hang on to the lead. But they're good at that. They did it against Boston, 1-0. They hung on to a 1-goal lead. Talk about how Detroit, their 6-on-5 defense has been pretty bad at times. It's the opposite for Minnesota. They're very good when they're defending a lead at 6-on-5 and the opponents pulled the goalie for the extra attacker. They did it once again last night, and they hang on for a 4-3 win over Seattle. By the way, now, I believe it's something like what? Jonathan had the stat, 20-6 to the over here for the Seattle Kraken off a loss. I think it's just one of those situations where certainly for them, we like to see a trend like this where a team, when they lose a game, are they more aggressive offensively? Do they push things a little bit as far as trying to get a little more scoring going when they're off a defeat? And that's a pretty consistent trend we have seen with the Seattle Kraken. So something to keep in mind. They've been a very strong over team off a loss of late, and it continued again last night. Alex, your thoughts on what was a very busy Tuesday?
Yeah, busy Tuesday, not a profitable Tuesday for myself. It was actually kind of a shit day. And, you look at two of the games involved, Buffalo and that game with Winnipeg and the Islanders. And like I said, lineup changes were crucial to some of those bets that I ended up having to lose, especially we saw with, a couple scratches, Jason Zucker being one of them for Buffalo. We're seeing teams now scratching guys because they're going to be dealt within the next 48 hours. So that's something I wasn't expecting to see on Tuesday night, expecting that maybe to see on Thursday, and then certainly, of course, leading into Friday, where you have guys going back and forth and call-ups and lineups being, kind of bounced around to the very end. So it's unfortunate, but we, take it on the chin, lost a few players. Biggest takeaways were, like I said, Calgary. Definitely didn't see them exploding for 6 goals, but I said I didn't like anything in that game because I was worried about Philly. You can't trust Philly. This is a garbage team. And sure enough, they showed that to give up 6 goals to Calgary. Calgary's not putting up 6 on still Calgary's not putting up 6 on anybody, even when they're playing really at their best. Because that's just not the way that they play. The way they want to play and win games isn't about them scoring 5-6 goals a night. So that's just that's a rough spot to miss for myself, because that normally would have been a overlook just off of the fact of Wolf's a guy who, like I said, we do like him, but early in games can be susceptible to giving up a goal. But yeah, Philly just kind of completely flat like that and getting run around, especially at times in their own zone. That's going to be a problem. The other game that I watched a lot of, didn't get to see any of that Dallas and New Jersey game, unfortunately, the ESPN Plus game, but I saw the highlights of that. Like I said, you got to make a save, you got to clear the zone late in a spot like that. If you're New Jersey, you cannot afford that. And for as many teams as we've seen play well in that kind of a situation late, that's just a tough goal to give up, and like I said, tough spot to have where you don't come away with any points in the standings. In that Pittsburgh-Colorado game, I watched quite a bit of that. Like I said, that was, Colorado kind of laying an egg, but Pittsburgh couldn't take advantage of it. Colorado, we've seen them, like I said, time and time at home as a big favorite, kind of let teams stick around a little bit and kind of play with their food. That was, I think, those are the exact words I said. And sure enough, they make it a more misleading score than it was. But this has to be down the end of the road for the Penguins. I'm wondering to see what moves they make, along with some other teams. I'm not holding steadfast to it now, but tomorrow I might do something unprecedented. I may not have a single play pregame because of the different moves that we're seeing happening. Everything I might have, we might be lined up looking for live bets as far as the betcast goes tomorrow. But for today, I do have some games, some spots in the games today that I do like.
Yeah, no doubt. We're getting to that time of year where the trade activity certainly is going to start ramping up. And with that in mind, we are going to talk about a couple of trades that one is definitely official, one is about to be official, but we do have a couple of trades that we want to discuss.
This is breaking news from the Ice Guys.
And the first one obviously was earlier today. Again, it's not, earth-shattering, but for the Florida Panthers, we knew the moment they dealt Spencer Knight to the Chicago Blackhawks, they would be in the market to trade for a backup goaltender. They need one, obviously, for Sergei Bobrovsky, and they got one. Vitek Vanacek on his way to the Florida Panthers from the San Jose Sharks. Patrick Giles, a centerman, on his way to San Jose. He's still in development mode. He's a project right now. The Panthers liked him. So for the Panthers to part ways with him and for Mike Grier to get someone that Florida really liked in their organization, you got to give Mike Grier credit. I mean, for you're parting with Vitek Vanacek, marginal backup goaltender, and to get an asset in return like a Patrick Giles, if he continues to develop, could play in your organization. Solid work, in my opinion, by Mike Grier as the rebuild continues for him and the San Jose Sharks. And then the other deal that is close to being finalized, Elliot Friedman's on it. I think it's just a question of when, not if this does get finalized, is Oliver Bjorkstrand and Yanni Gourde from the Seattle Kraken to the Tampa Bay Lightning. We'll have to see who goes back the other way, but Bjorkstrand, a little depth scoring. That's the one thing Tampa needs. They're not getting that same offensive punch from their third and from their fourth line. Oliver Bjorkstrand is a guy that can help that. For Tampa Bay. And obviously Yanni Gourde goes back to the Lightning where he was previously, knows that organization, very familiar with John Cooper. And they remember how good Yanni Gourde, Barclay Goodrow, and Blake Coleman, how good that line was for Tampa Bay in the playoffs for them a couple of years ago. So if this trade does indeed come to fruition, and it looks like it's a question of when it is finalized, it looks like that Gourde and Bjorkstrand to Tampa Bay, I like it. For a team that all of a sudden with this great run they've put together, I mean, their only loss out of the Four Nations break was 2-1 against Florida, in a game that they were right there against the Panthers. So they are clearly playing some good hockey. And Alex, this is a move for Tampa Bay to show everybody, not that we doubted it, but hey, they're looking for more playoff success here in 2025 and possibly a run at another Stanley Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. If you haven't jumped on board with Tampa Bay futures, Tampa Bay to win the division, Tampa to win the East, I would run and grab those now because these prices are going to change. Not that these are the most earth-shattering moves, but these are depth pieces. A team that, like you said, they haven't had depth since those Cup days of this nature. So now to really bolster up those four forward lines, this is a solid move for them. And like I said, the way that they're running hot right now, this should be nothing but positives. Looking at that trade with Vanacek to Florida, I think it's kind of a lateral move. And, when you look at between him and Chris Drieger, who you currently now have as your backup, if you have to turn either one of these guys in the playoffs, you're screwed if you're Florida. So that's just the moral of that story. But I don't know if it's going to move the needle as far as, obviously there might be some chances to fade Florida now with Vanacek if he gets a spot start here or there down the stretch, especially if they're able to lock up everything. Say they go on a nice run, they win the Atlantic. Or say they go on a kind of free fall and they know they're not going to win the division, but at least, okay, fine. We get into the playoffs, let's just rest and be healthy for the playoffs. Vanacek could get some starts late, and maybe there's some inflated prices that we could take advantage of. That's the kind of way I look at that.
No doubt. So again, if that trade does indeed happen, and I think it looks like it will, my goodness, it's a nice one for Tampa Bay. I like bringing in both of them. And again, Yanni Gourde, very familiar with the organization there. All right, we got our Wednesday slate beginning with Ottawa and Chicago. 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 local. They actually did this for Sportsnet because this is a Wednesday night hockey game north of the border on Rogers Sportsnet. This one, Ottawa minus 240, road favorites, 6 the total here in this one with the Sens and the Blackhawks. Ottawa, valiant effort, came back to get a point against Washington the other night, losing in a shootout. But again, they got a very important point. Every point is valuable for them right now. How about this overrun for Ottawa? 9-1. in their last 10 games as far as overs are concerned. Chicago has been a bit of an over machine of late as well. 7-1-2. I like this over here at over 6 with Ottawa and Chicago. In fact, I'm going to go over by Fecta here. And I know our Chicago first period overs have cooled off a little bit. There's no question about that. But we did have one against LA. The long-term run is still spectacular. It's just lately we've been going kind of over, under pattern with the first period, the last few games for Chicago. Now, the pattern says to bet the under tonight, but I do think here in this matchup, the fact we're going to get Soderblom, there's some pressure. There's some game pressure on Soderblom because he knows the new kid in town, the new knight in shining armor, if you will, Spencer Knight, comes in and just dazzles everybody in his Blackhawks debut, 40-some saves. And now he's going to be feeling it in the pit of his gut tonight. I got to try to go out there and match or at least come somewhat close to what this guy did. Because if I want to keep getting starts and maybe a showcase game, is he involved in potential movement before Friday? We'll have to wait and see on that. But it's a big moment here for Soderblom, and he's had obviously a much better season. But now I find there's a lot more pressure on him in this start. He hasn't been feeling too much pressure. It's been him and Old Man Winter this year as the two goaltenders, Peter Mrazek all year. You don't have to worry about a big-time pressure situation when you got the veteran who never stays healthy and it hasn't been all that great this year that you're, platooning with. Now you got this potential goalie of the future rolling in here to the Windy City and Spencer Knight. How do you handle that? Is this going to be same old, consistent, solid, steady Arvid Soderblom tonight? Or does that get to him a little bit that Spencer's in town? He was phenomenal in his debut. And does that lead to the pressure buckling Arvid Soderblom a little bit tonight? I think it's a fascinating watch in that regard. What I like is Ottawa can score now again because Brady Tkachuk's back. Josh Norris is back. How red hot has Parlay Pinto been since returning from injury for the Ottawa Senators? He scored against San Jose, 2 goals against Washington the other night. So, and with all due respect to, LA offensively kind of challenged on the road. So that maybe enhanced Spencer a little bit, although he was still fantastic. He's got the tougher matchup tonight, Arvid Soderblom, because Ottawa's coming in here playing for their playoff lives, playing a little bit better now these last couple games since they got everybody healthy. I was so impressed that they came back and at least got a point with the Washington Capitals the other night. So I like first period over, full game over. Kind of lean to an Ottawa team total over 3.5 here as well in this game. Might sprinkle smaller on that, but primarily I'm on the over by Fecta here. Alex, what do you think? Ottawa, Chicago.
Yes, I noticed you said Ottawa team total over because you're certainly not backing Ottawa minus 240, and you can't back Ottawa in this spot where, for whatever reason, the Hawks beat the shit out of the Senators. I don't know what it is. It's going back a while. I'll never forget during the height of the first period over back in the day. This game was like 6-5 in the first period. We saw like an 8-7, 9-7 final like a couple of years ago. Well, it was actually probably longer than that, about several years ago. But this has always been one of these things where, and it's usually an Ottawa team that's either playing good hockey at the moment or just a better team overall. And Chicago has won 11 of the last 12 meetings. So I took a shot here. I actually got the worst of the number because they hadn't confirmed that Soderblom was playing yet, but I got plus 175. Obviously still like it at plus 200. And I did go over by effect. I got 6 at minus $1.06 at FanDuel. And I got the 1.5. I laid $1.25 with it. Of course, anything past $1.30, I'd say wait maybe a minute or two, try and get that a little bit cheaper in game. But I do expect goals. And yeah, for Soderblom, obviously keep on renting. Probably don't want to buy anything. I would think if he's not moved between now and Friday, he's certainly going to be somewhere else come the off season. But like I said, he has a chance now to at least either you're playing to still be in Chicago as a backup, or you're playing to showcase yourself somewhere else. I think he has a good game, and I think that he, for as well, like I said, as he's progressed this year, it's a tad bit disrespectful to have him plus 200, even though this is an Ottawa team, like I said, playing good hockey. But when you look at the history, why has Ottawa struggled, especially in Chicago? This is the questionable line, and I'm taking the big dog here, so I'm going Hawks with the over by factor.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of prop. There's a good prop game because I do think we'll see some offense here. And like I said, with this Parlay Pinto, I mean, you guys know I'm betting Parlay Pinto, of course. He's been outstanding here for the Ottawa Senators. He's got goals in 7 of the last 10 games, got goals in 4 of the last 5. He scored in both games obviously, since he's been back from injury. San Jose, Washington, 3 goals in the last 2 games for him. Finally, though, unfortunately, guys, he's not going to be my bargain bin special tonight because he is finally below that. Well, not at every book, but majority of them. You actually can get it at plus 310 at Bet Rivers, but a lot of the other books have moved it below plus 300. So, like I said, he's been excellent, though. There's no question to look in that direction. For Chicago, why not Elephant Hands right now? Ryan Donato, he has been absolutely lethal of late for the Blackhawks. 9 of his last 10 games, he's collected a point. 5 straight game point streak for him coming into this one. So whether it's goal prop or assist prop on Ryan Donato, that makes a lot of sense. Teuvo Teravainen, 8 of the last 10 games with a point. 5 straight games as well with a point for him. He's actually scored in 3 of the last 5 games as well for the Chicago Blackhawks. So a little Teuvo time, Teuvo Teravainen, something to keep in mind with what we've seen from him lately for the Chicago Blackhawks. So those are definitely some of the red hot commodities right now at the moment for these 2 teams. Obviously, Pinto, Donato. I'll throw one out there too. 4 of the last 10, he scored a goal for the Ottawa Senators, the former Golden Knight, Michael Amadio. So even there, if you want to go a little deep down the board, Michael Amadio has been starting to chip in a little bit here for the Ottawa Senators of late as well. So good props. I mean, Mikheyev for the Blackhawks. There's another one. I don't know how long that's going to keep going, but he's been noticeable at the offensive end here. They call him Soupy because he loves his soup. Apparently, he's got just like just loves soup. Apparently, and that's how they came up with that name for him. Ilya Mikheyev. Maybe some borscht because he's Russian, but nevertheless, he's been good lately. So it's a good prop game. A lot of good options there.
Wait, one note too I made about Ryan Donato, because of course he's, like I said, name floating around everywhere in trade rumors, but I don't know if it's set in stone that the Hawks are going to trade him. If he doesn't get traded, I would definitely still be riding him as far as player props, because that means they would be looking to extend him probably for another what would be the biggest career contract of his career at this point. That's what I think he'd be looking for that from somebody somewhere. So if he doesn't get traded, maybe the Hawks keep him around, and I could see maybe that be even a boost to what we've seen him do already. He's had a fantastic season.
I also want to point out one thing about this game tonight, because I've seen this movie before, and we've seen it with goalies when they're not announced right away who's going to start. It means that they may be going in another direction. Linus Ullmark hasn't been confirmed yet by Travis Green in the Ottawa Senators. And because, they're still working him back, from obviously a recent absence due to injury, it wouldn't totally shock me if they don't start him tonight against Chicago. We might see Anton Forsberg
against his old team.
Against his old team. That's what I'm thinking. I think it's going to be Anton Forsberg, quite honestly, here for the Ottawa Senators tonight. Remember, Merrilainen's been sent back down because Forsberg's healthy again. So don't be surprised anyway if Anton Forsberg ends up being announced as the starting goalie here for Ottawa tonight. All right, Washington Capitals, New York Rangers. This is the first of the TNT doubleheader tonight. We've got the Capitals minus 120 road favorites, 6 the total here in this game. Charlie Lindgren's in net, and at the moment, Lindgren means no Capitals for me at the moment. I'm not in a rush to back Washington with him in net. That being said, and I know the Rangers have shown a little pulse here, no doubt. They're playing with a little bit more spirit. It looks like a team that's kind of showing signs of, hey, let's try to make the playoffs. We know we were just in a world of pain for a while there. Couldn't get out of our own way with the way we were playing. But suddenly they've won 4 of the last 5, 7-3 in their last 10 games. They're starting to play some better hockey. I will say this, though. The last 4 of those victories, Pittsburgh, twice against the New York Islanders, and Nashville, that's not exactly who's who of phenomenal foes. That's Sisters of the Poor written all over it right there with those last 4 New York Rangers wins. So this is a step up now against a Washington team that obviously they lost 3 in a row for the first time this season, but they avoided 4 in a row for the first time this season with the win against Ottawa the other night. But we also have mentioned that Lindgren has not been as good as Logan Thompson, and it's been even more evident and obvious here of late. So, and the one thing I'll say about the Rangers is offensively, Zibanejad, for all the criticism he's gotten, has played well lately, heating up for the Rangers. JT Miller's been on a roll. He's got, 14 points in 11 games last I checked for the New York Rangers since he's been there. He's feeling great. He's happy to be there. He's playing like it right now for the New York Rangers. They've scored 4 goals or more in 4 of their last 5 games. The only game they didn't was when they lost to the Toronto Maple Leafs 3-2, and they had 35 shots on goal in that game. I thought actually Stolarz was tremendous. It's a big reason why they only scored 2. I don't think we're going to get Anthony Stolarz level goaltending tonight from Charlie Lindgren. And I think the Rangers can score here. This is another one where that first period over, full game over by Fekta is calling my name. And that's what I like the most here with this one. Over 1.5 first period, over 6 full game, Caps and Rangers. Alex, what do you think here? Washington, New York Rangers.
So, I mean, Charlie Lindgren is not Logan Thompson. That is for damn sure. But he's not chopped liver either. And he just got the new contract, as mentioned in the chat. He might play with a little bit of spark and energy now. And like I said, the Rangers don't deserve to be even money favorites against the Capitals. This is a crazy price. Like you mentioned, beating up on the Islanders and the Penguins and the Predators. Okay, that's fine.
Great.
You're supposed to punch down. Yeah, but now you're coming at the Kings for the moment. And what would be a potential playoff review and a rematch of last year too, mind you. Remember all what happened in that series. So give me Washington here. I laid the $1.20 earlier today. I will be on the over by Fekta in game, and I'm actually really over trifecta because I do have both teams to score already bet plus 168 at FanDuel. I grabbed that. I do like goals here back and forth, but I think Washington wins this one. Also looking at everything Ovechkin, of course, anytime goal, last goal. Get that still around that plus 700, plus 800 range. Those will be added on as well.
Yeah, I mean, they play defense against the Islanders and the Predators. Those two offenses don't belong in the same stratosphere as the Washington Capitals, and that's why I think there's going to be goals here. And I think the Rangers will score, though. I mean, Rangers, believe it or not, are averaging 3.5 goals per game in the last month. That's top 10 in the NHL. Their offense has picked it up, the Rangers, and I think they can chip in here. Yeah. But Washington, man, what they've done, obviously, they're averaging over 4 goals per game of late. I mean, they've just been a tear, and to me, the Rangers' defense is still prone to just mistakes, blemishes, turnovers, gaffes, breakdowns defensively that hang their goaltenders, including Shesterkin, out to dry. Shesterkin's numbers still are – he's gotten a little bit better of late, but still hasn't been phenomenal here with his last 10 starts. He's still got a save percentage below 900 and a 3.05 goals against. My concerns are Lindgren in the short term. Maybe the contract gives him a boost, and he plays, hey, I'm going to show them that they made the right decision in paying me. But my goodness, 3.36 goals against, 846 save percentage for Charlie Lindgren here in his last 6 starts coming into this one. That's rough, and that's why I think the goals are going to happen. And Jonathan Davis, now again with this team total here, 3 goals or more in 11 straight games, obviously allowed by the Washington Capitals. And yes, I was eyeing that team total, but not at minus 160, minus 170, just a little bit too pricey. You can put it in a parlay potentially because I do lean Rangers team total over 2.5 with that stat. Caps given up 3 or more in 11 straight games. But again, this is just a little too pricey on that, minus 170 to lay that price with over 2.5 on the New York Rangers. But I might bet it live in-game. Why not? Yeah, get a couple minutes, scoreless hockey, 3 minutes. Talk about how with the first period totals and the full game totals, Alex, you can get a better number and price if you wait a few minutes. You can do the same damn thing with team totals. Wait a few minutes. You'll get over 2.5 with the Rangers at even money potentially. And that's probably when I'll jump in because that is a trend worth riding right now. Washington giving up 3+ in 11 straight games to the opponent. Even in the win against Ottawa, right? They gave up more. That's been a thing lately.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's multiple ways to attack when you're looking at certain plays. When you talk about team total, okay, that means if you're seeing pace, you can go for obviously next goal to score, first goal of the game, things of that nature. You can, like I said, just grab team total overall live. So you can use. We always talk about that. Sometimes use certain plays just as a set barometer, especially if you're looking to do live betting. Just maybe you just put something small on the over 2.5, but you're still pinpointing and looking for other angles within the game, and you can maximize some return with that.
Yeah, exactly. So again, that's the great thing about the live markets. Really give you a great opportunity to capitalize on multiple situations, and we will see if that continues along here moving forward. All right, next up, we've got the second game of the TNT doubleheader. Next up, Toronto Maple Leafs and the Vegas Golden Knights. That's twice this week for the Leafs on TNT, which I applaud because they're so fucking stubborn, the American networks, to get Canadian teams on there consistently. But they realize, Toronto's got a great team. It's one of the top teams. We should be showing more games like this. Toronto and Vegas
helps.
and fucking Boston and Pittsburgh every goddamn week, right?
And it helps because the game's in Vegas.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's one of the kind of longs and shorts of it. But yeah, right. We have to get out of this wormhole of showing the same 8 to 10 teams on national TV all the time. Like, yes, we get it. We all love watching Sidney Crosby, but how many more fucking Penguins games can we get on TNT? It's insane. Yeah. I agree with you.
No doubt. This is good. This is a good game to put on that TNT, and even Caps Rangers is good because and Rangers are another team that's kind of on a bit too much, but at least they're pretty good still and have been good the last few years. And Capitals,
and we got lucky with the Caps being good because the Capitals have a ton of national games all the time because of Ovechkin.
Yeah, but you're right. Half a fan base is not going to get accounted for in the ratings, Jonathan. I get it because of Canadian teams involved. I get that. You're right. It's all about ratings and making that buck. I get it. But you also want to showcase the best teams in the NHL for the national audience. And you got to put teams like Toronto and Edmonton on there every now and then. There's no doubt, especially when they're playing good hockey. And we've got that tonight. We got Vegas minus 160, home favorites, 6 the total in this game. What's going on with this line moving like this? I'm baffled by it. Vegas for open minus 125 in this game. I'm seeing it as high as minus 165 now with the Vegas Golden Knights here as home favorites. This is mind-boggling to me. Now, and I'm just looking to see injury-wise what could be. I see nothing. I see nothing that we didn't already know, that Chris Tanev's still out, and that's about it. Joe Woll might start and not Anthony Stolarz. And I guess people are seeing that and saying, well, he absolutely was at his worst game of his career possibly against Pittsburgh, even though the Leafs won that game, that, hey, Woll look terrible and let's fade him if he's going to be in net. Not so fast, my friend, is what I would say. When I look at this price, this is ludicrous. Vegas has not played consistent enough. I haven't loved what I've seen from them really at either end of the ice. You go back to the Chicago game, the way that game played out, not impressive. New Jersey, that game, I know they pulled it out 2-0. That was a dead even hockey game. And if New Jersey had some kind of offensive confidence there, they probably could have scored. Now, Aiden Hill was in net, and he was very good. He's going to be in net tonight here in this one. But this price has just gotten, to me, a little bit out of control. Vegas as a home favorite, no argument. But Vegas as a home favorite in the minus 165 range, with Toronto coming off a particularly frustrating loss and a third period that will not sit well with them with that 3-2 loss to the San Jose Sharks at home, now starting a road trip. This is a live dog, in my opinion. Give me the Leafs here, plus 140 in this game. It's just a little bit too much of an overreaction to Toronto losing to San Jose. Vegas, obviously, they've won 5 of the last 6. Let's actually look at these wins. 2 against New Jersey, who've slumped a little bit. Boston, Vancouver, Chicago. There's not been a who's who of phenomenal victories here for the Vegas Golden Knights. Toronto's actually played well in Vegas historically at T-Mobile Arena. Last year, they won 7-3. They beat the hell out of Vegas here at T-Mobile Arena. And in fact, the Leafs have won back-to-back trips to Vegas, 4-3 in a shootout. The year before that, I actually won 2 of the last 3, and overall 3 of the last 5 meetings here in Vegas between these two teams. So, and I think coming off the San Jose loss, that's kind of like the you'll get that great effort tonight from them. Will it be enough's a question, but this was actually not going to be a bet for me at the opener when it was minus 125 for Vegas, because I said, all right, it's a fair number, no issues there. But now with minus 165 is, it's carried away at this point with where this number's gone. I'm going to take the plus money now with Toronto. Plus 140 price is a good one here. Again, they've won in Vegas. They've played well here in the past. And the Leaf fans will travel. You'll get a bunch of blue in the crowd making a trip to Las Vegas. It's early March. The weather's still pretty damn cold in Toronto. Leafs Nation will travel here to T-Mobile Arena, and their presence will be felt and heard I'm sure, inside the arena tonight. So I like the Leafs at this price. I wasn't going to bet Toronto initially. I can't resist plus 140, though, now. This line move to Vegas is carried away, in my opinion. Alex, what do you think here? Leafs, Golden Knights.
It's funny, as you were talking, I just went on X and I just put in the search Leafs in Vegas, and sure enough, what did I get? I got a bunch of posts of Leafs fans getting off the airplane, Leafs fans on Fremont Street. This is going to be a lot of blue and white in the crowd, and this won't be the cocktail, wine and cheese crowd in Toronto. This will be the diehard fans. People who are spending their money to
on the road are loud. They're really
loud.
That's what I'm
saying. That's right. So that's what I'm saying. So you'll have that added on to the fact that Toronto's won 7 of their last 8 on the road, and like I said, this is just an awfully inflated price. If there's any goalie that can have a bad game and turn around and have a really good start right after, it's Joseph Wall. Like we're not going to throw like I said, we've gotten so wrapped up in how good some of these number ones are, like Logan Thompson, like Anthony Stolarz, that we're all of a sudden now casting the number 2s aside like they're true number 2, bums. These aren't bums. Wall's is still a quality goalie. So yeah, I'm with you. Give me the Leafs plus 140 on the money line.
I'm going to sprinkle on the draw, too, just because Toronto's gone to overtime 3 of the last 4 games. Yeah. They become a little bit of a mini draw magnet again. The Toronto Maple draws are starting to come back again. So the draw, I'm going to get involved with that. My first draw bet here on this slate. Joe Wold, let's not forget, he's had a really good season. Pittsburgh was the worst game I've seen him play. He knows that. They were also, that was pond hockey Sunday afternoon against the Pittsburgh Penguins. It's not like the defense did their best job helping him out either. I would expect him to play better. I think defensively they'll play better as well in this game. And like I said, Vegas does have that great home record, but 22 wins. But again, this is just a price this should be closer to where it was initially, not where it is now, in that minus 160 range. As far as props go for this Toronto and Vegas game, Matthew Knies, it goes without saying. I think he's now scored in every game, or just about, since he's been back, except I don't think he scored in the San Jose game, but no, he did. He did score in the San Jose game. You're right. The second goal on Monday night. So Matthew Knies has scored in 3 straight for the Toronto Maple Leafs after the drought. Worth a shot here, in my opinion. No question about that. You look at also Holmberg, Nick Robertson. Talked about them, how they've been solid. On the Vegas side of the equation, Dorofeyev has scored in 3 of the last 5 games here for the Vegas Golden Knights. Tomas Hertl's been heating up lately as well. He has scored as well in 3 of the last 5 games for the Vegas Golden Knights going into this one. We'll see if he can keep it rolling here for them right now. But those are some props that certainly I would be eyeing here as far as this game is concerned with the Leafs and the Golden Knights. Holmberg, Robertson, Knies in particular for the Leafs. And again, like I said, for the Vegas Golden Knights, there's also value with Tanner Pearson because he's up with Eichel and Stone right now for the Vegas Golden Knights. So keep an eye on him. If he continues to get that kind of a position in the lineup, hasn't made the most of it yet, but doesn't mean he won't at some point. So Tanner Pearson maybe here for the Vegas Golden Knights up on that top line. All right, next up, we've got St. Louis and Los Angeles. Kings minus 160, home favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. This is LA off a horrific road trip. Horrific. And again, the road woes continued for them for Los Angeles. 3 straight road losses: Dallas, St. Louis, Chicago. They get absolutely wiped out. They don't win a game. They get outscored 15-4 in those 3 games by the Stars, Blues, and Blackhawks. Now, look, Spencer Knight was spectacular against them on Monday night. They probably deserved a little better fate with the 40 shots on goal. But like I said, you got to put the puck in the freaking net, as I always like to say. And LA, that's the issues consistently with them away from home. They haven't done that. And in fact, that's 2 goals or less for them in 4 straight games during this 4-game losing streak. That being said, they are back home. They've been just absolutely spectacular. It's like a different hockey team at the Crypto Barn, Crypto.com Arena. 19-3-3 for the LA Kings at home. They're back home now for this game. It's also rapid revenge for them because they just played in St. Louis last weekend, lost 4-1 to the Blues. We were all on St. Louis in that game. We really liked St. Louis at home against LA. So it is a revenge spot for LA, and they've been great at home. I'm not fading them in a revenge spot back home where they've played their best hockey. And you should get a great effort out after getting skunked on that road trip. But I'm also not laying minus 160. with the Los Angeles Kings either in this kind of a price range here against the St. Louis Blues, who have won 4 of the last 5. Obviously, it was a tough spot for them. They were on a back-to-back against the surging Dallas Stars and lost 6-3 after beating the aforementioned LA Kings the last game the night before, 4-1 at home. But the Blues have been playing well, and they've been scoring, unlike the Kings. They've scored 3+ goals, this Blues team, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight games coming into tonight. Their offense is humming. Our boy Holloway, my good buddy, he's starting to percolate again here for the St. Louis Blues. He's been scoring. How about Zach Bolduc? We got to keep an eye on him. He's starting to show up and score goals for this Blues team as well. It's been impressive from him. 3 of the last 5 games, he's found the back of the net here for the St. Louis Blues. Talk about Holloway. He's still in that bargain bin range. You got to look in those directions as far as St. Louis is concerned, goal scoring wise. The Fogue Daddy, Warren Fogle. It's actually a good prop game. I'm not sure it goes over the total, but there's still some good value props here in this game, given what we've seen from some of these players I just mentioned of late. Good note from Jonathan, who knows the Kings inside and out. Brandt Clarke back in the lineup tonight for the LA Kings, and will get power play time. And he's the leading defenseman in points for the Kings. That is hard to believe, considering he hasn't been an everyday player in the lineup for them, and he's still leading them in points from the back end. So maybe Brandt Clarke, point assist props or goal, even a sprinkle on the goal prop, especially if he's going to get power play time. So not a side for me in this game, probably not a total either, but there's some good props that I'm interested in. And I actually might talk myself into, as I go on about it here, with the Blues consistently getting the 3 goals. Even though I think the LA Kings could win this game and they're strong at home, it's very difficult for me to say no to a Blues team total over 2.5, -108, for a team that has scored 3 goals or more in 7 straight entering tonight. We've talked about how good this offense has been lately here for the Blues. Like I said, 7 straight games for them of at least 3 goals, and their team total is sitting there at over 2.5, -108. I think I'm going to bet that. Blues may not win this game, but they've scored 3+ in 7 straight at 2.5 at -108. I like what I'm seeing. Their power play's starting to click. They're off a loss too. I know the Kings are off 3 straight road losses, but the Blues are off that Dallas loss. It's not like they're going to roll over here in LA against the Kings, and they're battling for their playoff lives. So I think that Blues team total over 2.5. I think I've just talked myself into it. What do you think here in this one, Alex? Blues Kings.
I'll probably add that on to what I already have. I have the first period over 1.5 -$1.05, and I am on the Blues +140. Keep in mind, you got these teams; they're going to play right back here, same time and same location, 3 days later. So you have the Kings coming back home. Blues have already been in LA for an extra day. I think maybe this is a spot where we look at St. Louis now and maybe fade St. Louis in game 2 coming up on the weekend. So that's the way I'm kind of looking at this. I got Blues, I got first period over, and I will add Blues team total a little bit as well.
And Darcy Kemper's kind of not been as sharp lately either for the Kings. Great numbers at home. That would be the biggest concern. Is most of his worst starts have been on the road. He's been very, very good at crypto for the most part this season. That's where his best performances have been. He had a tough couple of starts there on the road, but like I said, the St. Louis of scoring 3 goals or more, this run of theirs, 7 straight. And there you go, JD adding more fuel to the fire here. The Blues have scored 3 or more versus the Kings in 3 straight and 4 of the last 5. So there you go. Blues have been able to get to 3 goals against the Kings. So there you go, giving me that extra push for Blues team total over 2.5. I'm staying off the money line, unlike Alex here, but I get it. I mean, I would take +140 before -160, but I'm a little fearful of cornered animal syndrome here. Bad road trip back home. They've been terrific at home, that the Kings do win this, and we get maybe a 4-3 Kings win. We'll see. All right, next up, final game of this Wednesday NHL slate. Anaheim, Vancouver. We've got Vancouver -200. Home favorites total in this one, 5.5. No Quinn Hughes, no Vancouver. It's as simple as that. And Quinn Hughes has been ruled out. And this is concerning now because, we just thought maybe we got him back to health. And now Rick Tockett's saying he's out at least for tonight, just day by day right now for this Vancouver team. That being said, it is back-to-back for Anaheim. Big win for them last night against the Edmonton Oilers, 6-2. It's revenge for Vancouver because they recently went to the Honda Center in Anaheim when Vancouver was on a back-to-back, and Anaheim took it to the Vancouver Canucks in that game. So it's a quick revenge spot, short turnaround revenge spot here for Vancouver. Lankinen confirmed in net, Kevin Lankinen for the Vancouver Canucks in this one. Obviously for the Anaheim Ducks, because of the fact that in the win against Edmonton last night, we saw Lukas Dostal. That means we should see John Gibson get the nod here tonight for the Anaheim Ducks in this one. Like I said, Anaheim beat him in Anaheim. Anaheim beat Vancouver, that is, in Anaheim 5-2 a little over a week ago. So revenge for Vancouver, but this Vancouver team, 4 of their last 5 games have been losses. They're off that 5-game road trip. They've had some time off, though, from the 6-3 loss Saturday night at Seattle, to kind of rally the troops here and regather themselves. But like I said, I'm not laying minus 200 here with Vancouver. They had won 8 straight versus Anaheim until Anaheim beat them 5-2 in the previous meeting just over a week ago. Tough game as of right now. Doubt I'll be getting involved in it, but there's a lot of things back and forth. I think I'd take a shot with Anaheim if it wasn't back-to-back for the Ducks. I feel like it's an inflated price right now on Vancouver, especially without Quinn Hughes, who's the straw that stirs the drink quite often for this Vancouver Canucks team. So if not for a back-to-back, I'd probably find my way to put pizza money on Anaheim, but I'm a little hesitant based on them playing on consecutive nights. Alex, what do you think here? Final game, Anaheim, Vancouver.
Just off of a gut feeling, I like the draw here, and especially when you're looking at a price that's slightly inflated with Vancouver minus 200, seeing as high as plus 350 available at BetMGM. We don't get those prices too often, so this could be one where, like I said, Anaheim second of back-to-backs. Of course, if it's Gibson, we know it's potential showcase, or maybe not. Like you said, if they're just 6 points out of the second spot in the wild card, I can't imagine they're going to be going for it. More than likely he gets dealt. So this could be his last game as a Duck. Maybe he goes out in style and plays a solid game. This could be a lower scoring one. So I'll take the draw at plus 350.
Yeah, I would say Ryan Strome heating up. He's actually got goals in 3 of the last 5 games. Same with Leo Carlsson. Even Cutter Gauthier, 3 of the last 10 he's scored. Talk about Frank the Tank Petrano, DeBrusk for Vancouver. Pius Suter's being rumored to be in trade rumblings here as well for Vancouver. So keep an eye on him. And obviously Brock Besser, it's sounding like he's going to stay. A lot of people are starting to think he's going to stay with Vancouver, and they're going to try to work on extending him rather than dealing him before the
really?
deadline. Yeah.
Oh, I'd say I could see him being moved at like draft day or something, but okay.
Yeah. They're going to try to extend him. I think he's enjoyed it in Vancouver. He's always said good things about being there. And he certainly turned because we were looking at when he was going through his struggles mentally that maybe he just needs a change of scenery. But, man, he had that great comeback year last year for Vancouver. And he does like
Wild
it there.
fans. Wild fans want him to come home so bad. Every time I'm in a bar, I hear somebody talking about Besser. So
bring Brock Besser back to Minnesota, the state of hockey.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Might happen. Never rule it out. That is for sure. No question. But, yeah, I'm shocked that the Oilers let Gibson out of the building last night, says Jonathan. Yeah, after watching that masterpiece by Pickard and then throwing on the ups and downs of Skinner lately as well for the Edmonton Oilers. So, like I said,
maybe Stan call Chicago.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
if they do. But there's no doubt that Gibson, I think, is good. They're certainly going to try to move him. It's going to be interesting to see if they're able to. Because John Gibson's a picky bastard, as Jonathan Davis knows and is mentioned in our chat, that it's got to be the right fit for John Gibson to co-sign on a trade. There's no doubt. I'm not done with the props. There's a couple more here, point-wise. Kooky lend me Lacombe. I know I took the shot with the bargain bin last night on him. He didn't score, but he had a 2-point night, both assists. He has points in 5 straight games. He has points in 7 of the last 10 games. This point prop on him is very reasonable, considering the streak he's been on. 7 of the last 10 with a point, 5 straight with a point from the blue line for Jackson Lacombe, and it's like plus 126. That's the great thing about props, is that odds makers don't adjust quickly enough. Jackson Lacombe with points in 5 straight games, and you can still get plus 126 for him to get a point tonight in this game for the Anaheim Ducks. So, like I said, definitely something worth betting, in my opinion, here in this one. Just confirming Pierre LeBrun, confirming that the deal is going through. Gord and Bjorkstrand are on the way to the Tampa Bay Lightning. and a 5th-round pick from Seattle to Tampa Bay. And in exchange, Seattle gets a 1st-round pick in 2026, a 1st-round pick in 2027, Toronto's 2nd-round pick in this year's draft, 2025, and Mikey Eyssimont is actually on his way from Tampa Bay to Seattle the other way as well. So that's what we've got there with that trade finalized. I love it for Tampa Bay.
You forgot the banner, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Well, we mentioned it earlier. That's
I know.
We mentioned that trade already. That's why.
Yeah.
But
no, yeah, it's an interesting. It's an interesting deal, though, and obviously, like I said, that's when you have it, when your team that have a wealth of picks, you can make those swing those kind of deals. So obviously, getting another team involved, getting those other picks involved, and that's the way Tampa Bay is going to have to kind of play it. If they're going all in, but that's the thing long term, right? How many times has Tampa Bay gone all in and traded draft picks, and who the hell do they have in Syracuse? That's something they have to ask themselves a little bit later, but obviously not the concern right now.
Yeah, no doubt. So that, like I said, I like it. If you're Tampa Bay, you got to deal with Toronto and Florida in your own damn division, through in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and you got to bolster it because there is still some depth forward issues. There's just too much still on the plate of Gensel and Point and Kucherov and Brandon Hagel. Let's be honest; those are the 4 that have carried them offensively. You need a little more in that bottom 6, and now you got a Bjorkstrand in there, Yanni Gord, who knows this team inside out, can give you that little not offensive punch, but also forechecking, keeping plays alive, right. Being a hard as fuck, tough pest player to play against. That's exactly what could fit this Tampa Bay team quite well. There's no question. The only reason I didn't play the breaking news bumper is because we mentioned this trade already, but people are loving it, and it is official. So what the hell? Let's roll.
This is breaking news from the Ice Guys.
There we go. Make the audience happy right there. See what I do? I'm a man of the people. Good stuff. All right. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Patreon.com/Ice Guys. Big night tomorrow night for our Patreon members because it is Patreon exclusive. Ice Guys live betcast night tomorrow night, Tuesday, March the 6th. We are definitely looking forward to that. Only available to members. Make sure you sign up at patreon.com/Ice Guys. There it is. Patreon. That's not Tuesday. That's a typo there. Thursday, March the 6th. There we go. Thursday, March 6th. Tuesday. Patreon exclusive Ice Guys live betcast. Only available to members. Sign up at patreon.com/Ice Guys. We will be there tomorrow night. It's a great Thursday night card. Great night to have a Patreon exclusive live betcast. So make sure you sign up. Just $10 per month. Patreon.com/Ice Guys. Goalie charts, totals charts, daily betting cards, sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the Patreon page. And of course, access to our live betcast exclusive to Patreon members tomorrow night on Thursday. Very much looking forward to it. And again, your subscription goes a long way to supporting the show long term. So make sure you get in and sign up if you haven't already. Be there for the betcast tomorrow night, Patreon exclusive or B Square. $10 per month, patreon.com/Ice Guys.
Also, check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. At midnight tonight, you have a chance to save 15% off at the Ice Guys store. So shop around, look at what you want, add it to your cart, and at midnight, you'll be able to hit the redeem button at the front page, add everything, go to checkout, and you'll have 15% off available. So that will start at midnight tonight and going into the weekend. That's available right now, or well, at midnight, I should say, but you can shop right now at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
That's right, exactly. Yeah, it's a betcast night. It's only on Patreon. I know which voice you're talking about there, Rich H. Which, by the way, with all the games he's worked, and I swear I've watched pieces of, if not most of all of those games, I have seen 10 times the amount of John Forsland the last week and a bit as I've seen Family and Friends combined. That's no joke either. That's true.
Wow.
I mean, it's just that guy's been a workaholic with the fucking traveling a game here, a game there, a Kraken game here, a TNT game there, a Prime Amazon Monday night game here. I mean, it's just, man, he finally gets a break actually tonight. He's not working a game tonight, which is
you said was it 7 games in the last 10 days, right?
Something like that. It's like 7 or 8 in the last 10 games.
That's wild.
Crazy travel for Johnny Forsland. Yeah. So putting in is getting paid about hopefully with that kind of air miles, that's for sure. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hopefully we get paid tonight with our Wednesday night NHL bets. Bargain bin special of the night. Best bets coming up in just a moment, right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Support for the Ice Guys podcast is provided by Boston Hemp Incorporated, Tailgaters Social, and a big thank you to all that subscribe to the Ice Guys Patreon page. Everyone loves a perfect pair. Bacon and eggs. Thunder and lightning. Mario and Luigi. A hot dog with fries. Ian and Alex B. That's right. Everyone loves a perfect pair. So why not pair up your game nights with Boston Hemp? From exotic flower to concentrates and edible products. You'd be hard-pressed to find a better pairing than Boston Hemp and Hockey. Check them out today at bostonhempinc.com. That's bostonhempinc.com. Boston Hemp Incorporated, the official smoke sponsor of the Ice Guys. Void where prohibited by law. Not available outside of the United States. Must be 21 or over to obtain products. Check your local regulations to see if Boston Hemp is available in your area.
Shout out to all our great sponsors, including Boston Hemp Inc. Get 20% off all orders on the website using the promo code ICEGUYS at bostonhempinc.com. All right, bargain bin special of the night. 5 games on this Wednesday. Alex, bargain bin special. What do you like?
So we are going with an old standby, at least for this year. It's been Alex Ovechkin, last goal. That is now 9-1 at FanDuel. Like I said, usually you find that around plus 700, plus 750. There's a little bit of a bump in that. I do like Washington to win this game. I think there will be an empty net chance, and of course, number 8 will be the guy usually to get that netted. So let's go Alex Ovechkin, last goal, plus 900. That is my bargain bin special this Wednesday night.
All right, there we go. An old reliable. Hopefully it comes through tonight. Alex Ovechkin, last goal, Washington, and that's worth betting every game, in my opinion, until he breaks this record. Especially the games you think Washington could be in the lead late in the third period and feed him that empty netter to try to get closer to the Wayne Gretzky all-time record. So Alex Ovechkin, last goal for Alex with his bargain bin special of the night. My bargain bin special of the night, I am going to St. Louis and Los Angeles, but I am not going to the man you think I might be going to. I know you might be thinking Dylan Holloway, and I have bet Dylan Holloway again. Holloway, he was our bargain bin special on Sunday night, but I'm going to another St. Louis Blues player. I'm going to Zach Bolduc tonight for the St. Louis Blues, plus 500 at FanDuel to find the back of the net. Goals in back-to-back games, 4 goals in the last 4 games for Zachary Bolduc. He has really started to pick up his offensive game, playing on that third line. And at plus 500, that is a bargain bin worthy selection if I've ever seen one. Zach Bolduc, St. Louis Blues, plus 500. That'll be my bargain bin special of the night for this Wednesday NHL slate. Best bets, Alex, what do you like here for best bet?
Let's head out to Manhattan. You got the Capitals taking on the Rangers. Yes, the Rangers have won a few games, and they've kind of caught some fire, but they've done it against weaker teams, not to the class of the Washington Capitals. And even with Charlie Lindgren in net, I still think this is a cheap price to back the Caps on the road. So give me Washington minus $1.20 on the money line. That is my Wednesday best bet.
All right, there you go. Washington Capitals minus 120 for Alex B. Smith against the New York Rangers for best bet for this Wednesday NHL slate. My best bet for this Wednesday, let's go to the Windy City and let's look for some goals. We'll go Sens Blackhawks over 6, minus 110 with Ottawa and Chicago. I think we'll see both of those teams contribute enough offensively. Look at what the Sens have done offensively with Tkachuk, Pinto, and Norris back. 8 goals in 2 games, 4 goals in each game against San Jose and Washington. I think Soderblom and Chicago, that defense, which still gives up a ton of good chances and shots, will be in tough tonight against Ottawa. But look at Chicago all of a sudden. What is it, 15 goals or something like that in the last 3 games? Their offense is heating up right now. And they may face Forsberg instead of Ullmark, which is a bit of a downgrade in net. So you put it all together, I think the case is there for an over in the Windy City. Ottawa, Chicago, over 6 minus 110 for my best bet here for this Wednesday NHL card. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. And again, a huge Thursday coming up. Daily show at 2 p.m. Eastern. And the Patreon exclusive live betcast tomorrow night starting at 7 p.m. Eastern time. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Wednesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will be back with you tomorrow on Thursday, a big-time Thursday. Daily show 2 p.m. Eastern, betcast at 7 p.m. Eastern, exclusive to Patreon members. A big Ice Guys Thursday coming your way right here on the Ice Guys.